Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this shawl here. And as you can see, I have it laying on my carpet because it's too large to put on my desk. But I'm going to go ahead and give you some quick measurements so you can decide how big or small you want to make yours. So I can tell you from the top point across is 75 inches. From the top down to the point is 30 inches. And from one corner down to the point is 48 inches. Very easy shawl to make, very beginner friendly, especially if you're wanting to experiment with this light sport weight number 2 yarn for the first time. This would be a great one to do it on. It is all double crochet, but it's done in the front and back loops only, which create that ridge effect that you see on it. I think it's super gorgeous, and you've seen the picture of it on me for a reference, so you can decide if you want to make it bigger or smaller. So it's pretty big now though. Let's go ahead and get started on this. Alright, for this project I am using a Cotton King Deluxe. Now this comes, a Cotton King's Twirl Deluxe. It is a 100% cotton, and it is a sport weight number 2 yarn. This comes from the company Hobby, Hobbie, based in Denmark. You don't have to use this yarn. Any sport weight 2 will work. Believe it or not, any lightweight 3 will work also, and I think even a 4 weight will work. The only difference will be you'll just have to adjust the number of rows to make it the length that you want to make it, because it's super easy to make. But the color that I have is called, it's color 14, and it is named Baltic Amber, in case you're interested. Now there are almost 1,100 yards in this cake. I did not use all the cake. I probably used about 1,000 yards. I have about this left. I was gonna put fringe on it, but then I decided that it would take a long time to fringe all those little stitches with this little bit of yarn, so I didn't. But if you want it bigger, feel free to use the whole cake. If you want it smaller, you make it the size that you want. Like I said, it's very easy pattern, great for beginners, but it's beautiful, and even the advanced can do it. And then I used a size G, which is a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. Some people's G's are a 4.00 millimeter. Either one will work. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook, and please forgive me, I am not good at using small hooks. Anything past a 5 millimeter, I'm just not good at anymore. Not in my old age, I guess. Okay, we're going to start off with a chain of 3. Now we want to slip stitch into the first stitch to form a ring. And then we're going to be working in that ring that we just made. We're going to do a chain of 3. Now that chain of 3 is going to count as a double crochet. And now we're going to work 3 more double crochets going through the center of that ring. So there's 1, 2, and there's 3. Now we're going to do a chain of 2, which forms the point of our shawl. And now we're going to go ahead and work 4 double crochets through the center of the ring. And that'll end row 1. So counting that chain 3, you'll have 8 double crochet, 4 on this side and 4 on that side. So that ends row 1. Now rows 2 and 3 are the repeat rows. So we are going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to turn our work, and we're going to work in the very first stitch right here, very first one, and we're going to put 2 more double crochet. So counting that chain 3, we have 3 double crochet in the first stitch. Always 3 double crochet in the first stitch. And now I'm going to work in the front loops only. You see how the stitch has 2 loops. The one closest to you is the front loop, and the one furthest away is the back loop. We are going to work in the front loop only, and we're going to put 1 double crochet in each stitch, front loop only, until we get to our chain 2 space. So I'm going to yarn over, double crochet, front loop only. So you're only going through 1 loop, and double crochet. Sometimes when you go through the only 1 loop, it tends to stretch it out. I kind of try to hold it down like this so it doesn't stretch as much, like that. Going to the next one, front loop only, and double crochet. And you want to do this until you get to your chain 2 space. 1 double crochet, front loop only. And then when we get to the chain 2 space, what we want to do is we're going to go into that space. We're going to work 1 double crochet, chain a 2, and 1 more double crochet. Just like that. Now we're going to continue on this side what we did on this side. We're going to work 1 double crochet, front loop only, until we get to our last stitch. Now when you get to the last stitch, it is the chain 3 here. We want to put 3 double crochets into the top of that chain 3. So last stitch is always 3 double crochets into the top of that last stitch. Go. That ends row 2. And now you'll have a total of 14 stitches. So you're going to gain 6 stitches every time you complete a row. Every time you'll have 6 more stitches than you did the previous row. Okay, so row 3, get that tail out of my way. We're going to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and turn our work. Now right back into this very first stitch, going through both loops. We always go through both loops on the first stitch. We're going to work 2 more double crochets. So counting that chain 3, we have 3 double crochets there into that first stitch. Now we're going to work a double crochet in the back loop only of every stitch until we get to our chain 2 space. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into the back loop of the next stitch and double crochet. And we're going to do that in every stitch until we get to our chain 2 space, which is the point of the shawl. Oops. Back loop only. I already did that one. I don't know what I'm doing. So, okay, back loop only of every stitch till you get to your chain 2 space. Now I'm at my chain 2 space. Now I'm going to do the same thing, and every time we get the chain 2 space, it's always going to be the same thing. It's going to be 1 double crochet through the chain 2 space, a chain of 2, and then another double crochet. And again, we're going to do the same thing on this side that we just did over here. 1 double crochet in every stitch, back loop only, until we get to our last stitch. And when we get to our last stitch, which will be the chain 3 from the previous row, you want to go right into the top of it and work 3 double crochets. Always 3 doubles into the last stitch, which will always be a chain 3 from the previous row. And that'll end row 3. And now you'll have a total of 20 stitches, which is 6 more stitches than we had the round before. And now we're just going to continue working, repeating rows 2 and 3. So for row 4, we'll just repeat what we did on row 2, which is we chained 3 and we turned our work. In the front stitch, going through both loops, 2 double crochets. So counting that chain 3, you'll have 3 double crochets there. And now this time we work 1 double crochet in the front loops only until we get to our chain 2 space. So all it is it's 1 row front loop only, and the next row we working in back loops only. But remember, our very first stitch, when we work 3 double crochets into it, we go through both loops. In our very last stitch, we go through both loops. So now this will be 1 double in every stitch until I get to my chain in the front loop of every stitch, until I get to my chain 2 space. Chain 2 space always gets the same thing. It's 1 double, chain 2, 1 double. And then when I complete this row, I'll have 6 more stitches in the round before. And then I want to repeat row 3, which is 1 double crochet in the back loops, besides the beginning stitches, which get the 3. So that's it. You just keep repeating rows 2 and 3 until you get your shawl as big as you want it to be. And this is what it will look like. Now, if you are having trouble working in the front loops only and the back loops only, that's what puts the ridge on the shawl that you see. If you're having trouble working just through both loops, will work also, but you won't have the ridges. It'll just be a regular double crochet shawl. Either way, it'll look kind of like this, I guess. Either way, it'll work just fine. It's just if you're having trouble or you don't like the look of these ridges that are on the shawl, you can go through both loops and, you know, eliminate working in the front loop and the back loop only. If you prefer, the shawl will still look, it'll still turn out the same as far as size wise and everything. It's the only difference is it won't have the ridges. That's completely up to you. I thought the ridges looked pretty nice. Gave it just a little bit of a different effect than just straight double crochet, but either way will be beautiful. So that's it, 2 and 3 until you get it as big as you want. And if you're brave enough, you can add fringe. I still might do that sometime. If I do add fringe, I'll post a picture on my Facebook page one day, but I don't know, that just seemed like a lot of work putting fringe on all these little stitches. That's a good job for my kids. But thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Remember, even though it's a good beginner tutorial, even it works, I mean, it's a beautiful shawl even for the advanced. So thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And look over there on the right hand side. I will put a link or a playlist actually of all my other shawls. In case you like making shawls and you haven't seen all of them, you can check them out. Maybe you'll find something else that you want to make. So that's it. Thanks everybody for watching and have a good night.